What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Deck Dojo. And today we are going to be going over my top 15 commanders for 2023. Every single one of these commanders on this list are my personal favorite commanders for 2023. At no point am I saying that these are the most powerful ones to be printed this year. I'm just saying these are my 15 commanders that I had the most fun playing, and I want to share them with you. We all know what commanders are the most powerful commanders for 2023. We've seen the posts on Reddit. We've played them at our LGS. We've been told that running any other commander is completely suboptimal and we're just completely out of the meta. But you know what? These 15 that I got on my list are fun commanders. The commanders that I had the most fun playing at my LGS and playing with my friends. And you know what? That's way more important than being perfectly optimal. Let's get into the list. Taking number 15 on our list is Aragorn the Uniter. He is so much fun to play, and he's honestly one of my first commanders to recommend to people that are just starting to break into that 4 or 5 color range and want to build their own deck. Because he just lets you play whatever you want. There's no crazy combos that you have to play, there's no synergies you have to worry about. The only synergy he cares about is what color the card is. So if you can drop a 3-color card inside the deck and you play it, boom, you get the rewards. That's all he cares about. It's easy. He allows you to work on your ability to fine tune deck building, getting the mana base figured out while giving you access to a range of colors and a bunch of different playstyles. And number 14 on our list is Tetsun, Gnome Champion. He's already made my top 15 and he was just printed in Lost Caverns of Ixalan. The reason why is because he fills this little niche inside of Magic that allows you to take advantage of flipping these new double-sided artifacts and really get them going. Not only that, this is Magic the Gathering, the game of cheating. So you can use some of the other double-sided sagas or Praetors from earlier in the game, make them into artifacts, and flip them and manipulate the board with a little bit of chaos. Number 13 on the list is Anixia Hand of Erebos, and she fit right into my favorite way to play, and that's Graveyard. She has all of the colors that you need to really mill yourself efficiently. Not only that, you have access to some great draw spells in green and white. She's a really easy commander to play. There's nothing crazy, but you have access to a bunch of fun utility cards that can really push your board state and get annoying for your opponents. And number 12 on the list is Ariad of the Charmed Apple. And I really like this different take on Orzhov. Instead of having to worry about, building up this army of 1/1s, sacrificing them, and when they die, your opponents lose 1 life, you gain a life, yada, yada, yada. This way, you get to put out a bunch of big enchantments, making the boards absolutely disgusting. And then you just get to sit back and watch the mayhem that you are just starting by throwing out these enchantments on your opponent's creatures. But then you're slowly just taking their life for the number of wars you have. And you get to sit back and watch the war that you're instigating. And number 11 on our list is Pantlaza Sun Favored. That's right, I'm a dino kid, and I have absolutely no shame in that. And if I get to play a commander that allows me to play other dinosaurs and then get more dinosaurs based off of their toughness, I'm going to. And I'm going to have no shame about that because there's nothing better than dropping a big 12/12 when you risk it for a biscuit and succeed. And with that, we break into my top 10 commanders for 2023. And taking that first spot is Don Andres, the Renegade. Because if you read his text, he says, "The pirate's life is for me, and I'm going to take everything from you and dish it right back out. I'm going to play your creatures, I'm going to buff them, and I'm going to give them back to you in the not so nice way. Not only that, I'm going to take your spells, cast them, and then send them back to the graveyard and get a little extra bounty just from using your spells." And taking the number 9 spot is Urtet, Remnant of the Memnarch. say that 10 times fast, because as soon as you're done, you're going to have 100 mirror tokens chilling on the battlefield, because this guy can really combo off, and especially with a bunch of various artifacts, you're going to be able to do this every single turn because all of your mirrors are going to untap, and then you're just going to do it again in your opponent's turn, and then you're just going to keep going until you have an unstoppable army of mirrors. And then you're just going to give them a bunch of +1/+1 effects, thanks to a bunch of different artifacts, and you're just going to stop your opponent's faces off. And taking the number 8 spot is Will, Scion of Peace. This guy makes playing X spells feel like butter. All you got to do is gain some life in your turn, tap him, and all of a sudden you can play an X spell that normally would take up all of your mana for 2 pips. And then you go 9/1/1s chilling on the battlefield. And you can do that multiple a turn because it's not like it's a one and done effect. It's per turn. So you just stack them up, and then all of a sudden you're the guy gaining life, and you're the guy with an unstoppable army. And taking the number 7 spot, he puts the fun in Fungus, the Myco Tyrant. Wow, that was so corny. I'm sorry you had to hear that. Comparing this guy to Slimefoot the Stowaway, he really ramps up fungi production. All you got to do is mill yourself for a bunch, put a bunch of permanents away in your graveyard, and then you create X number of fungi. Not only that, with the number of fungi on the battlefield, he can swing for a pretty potent amount of commander damage as long as you keep your fungi army nice and built up. And taking the number 6 spot is Hawkball of the Surging Soul. I know it's another precon commander, but you know what? This guy comes out of the box swinging. There's very few modifications that I've made to this deck, and he can put up a fight. If he gets counters going, there's no stopping him. And it's so satisfying just building up a 2020 commander and swinging for lethal on every single one of your opponents. And all you're really doing is you're flipping through your deck, finding the exact cards that you want. Because as long as you have a bunch of merfolk out, you're exploring pretty deep into your deck, and you have so many options, and you have all of the answers, or you have all of the mana. And with that, we go to my top 5 commanders for 2023. And the number 5 slot goes to Agatha of the Vile Cauldron. Now, before you come at me and say, that's just a really powerful card, that's a really powerful commander, of course it's in the top 5. That's not why I love her. The reason why I like Agatha the Vile Cauldron is because of her ability. She allows for cards that normally you would just leave in your bulk to be utilized. If it has an 8 cost activation, all of a sudden it goes from, man, that's really bad, it's unusable, to like, wow, that could potentially upset the entire game. That's why I love this card. She takes normally unusable cards and gives them a use, and it's just fun because you can just take the cards that normally would just fall to the wayside and throw them in the deck and get some really weird reactions out of people. And taking the number 4 spot is the Master Multiplied. I love seeing what kind of shenanigans I can get into because you get to ignore the legend rule. Not only that, you get to ignore the fact that tokens or creatures that would normally be sacrificed or exiled just don't. They get to stick around. They get to hang out for a little while longer, so you can get into some really fun, weird combos that just make the game silly because they just stick around. And you get to hang out and play with multiple versions of legendary creatures. Now, I know what you're going to say. People can do some really mean things with this commander, but if you build him in the funny way, it's pretty fun. I'm not going to lie. And taking the number 3 spot is Wida Trainer Prodigy. This commander just, it's fun, right? The idea of forcing your own creatures to attack each other, and as they're like punching each other in the face, things are happening to your opponents that they just don't appreciate, right? A bunch of tokens are being made, or an Apex Allosaurus is going around stomping all of their creatures out because you made all of them indestructible, and all of a sudden it's a board wipe, but with a dinosaur that's just really, really mad. It's just fun. Yeah, I love the idea. I love the idea of playing around with Enrage and infighting, stuff like that. Taking the number 2 slot is Shalai and Halar. When I first built this deck, I wasn't even thinking about infinite combos. I just took a bunch of creatures or enchantments that made +1/+1 counters, put them into the deck, and I was having a lot of fun putting out creatures, adding counters, pinging each other for damage, and then being able to swing out some big modified creatures and just having fun with it. It wasn't until later that I switched Shalai and Halar over into a more CEDH type format and really got the power going and going into this depths of +1/+1 counters and damage infinite combos. And I gotta say, either way, playing this commander as a casual or CEDH, I've had a lot of fun with her. And taking the number 1 slot for 2023, it's going to be Slimefoot and Squee. Now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, what a letdown. But you know what? I had so much fun with this commander. And this was like the first commander that I was really starting to push on TikTok and really build out with like the community and stuff like that. So this commander has like a special place in my heart because it's fun to play. Anytime I sacrifice and put it in like my graveyard and not in my command zone, I feel like I committed some sort of taboo. But then every time I rip it out of the graveyard and bring some big creature with me, I just get this feeling like thinking of like all the stories where they like delve into the depths of hell and brought their loved one back out. That's what I imagine Slimefoot is doing with Squeeze, just grabbing him by the hand and running through the gates of hell and coming back out to the battlefield like, man, we're back. Let's do some damage. And that's it, folks. That is my top 15 commanders in my heart for 2023. And you know what? I had a lot of fun this year. I built a bunch of decks. I got to play a lot of them at my LGS. I had the chance to start talking with you guys and building out a community and really improving my deck building skills and helping you guys improve your deck building skills. So overall, 2023 is a win in my book, and I can't wait to see what 2024 has. As always, if you're looking for any of the decks that we talked about in this video, they are linked in my Mox field, so please head on over, take a look at those, tell me what you think, and you know what? I'll see y'all in the next one. Catch you later.